Coach, do you love to work with your clients one-on-one, but you're wondering, is there a more effective way to generate more revenue online without trading my time for money and without sacrificing client results? Because if that's you, this episode is for you. What's up, Coach? Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the PT Profit Podcast. Just a quick reminder, if you are watching it live on YouTube, you could also tune in to the show on the podcast. But if you're listening to this on the podcast, you could also watch it on YouTube. And if this is the first time you're hanging out with me today, welcome. I'm Beverly Simpson. I'm a former district fitness manager for a national gym in Manhattan in New Jersey, and I've generated over 7 figures online and lived to tell the tale. And in last week's episode, I really shared with you a personal vulnerable story of why it's so important to have a low ticket lead system inside of your business. And in that video, I really walked you through the components of that low ticket lead system. And I've done it in a couple of places. In fact, in this upcoming live workshop that I will be teaching, Simple Scaling, how I turn $9 into 50K months, I actually show you how to pull these components together inside of your business. So click the link around this video and you can join me. I'll be there live. But in today's video, I'm gonna start helping you think through what it actually takes to put together this low ticket lead system. And we're going to start first with the $1 million offer stack. The 3 most important offers you need inside of your business in order to generate consistent, predictable, and sustainable revenue, whether you're online, in person, or a combination of both. So let's get into it. Most people think that when you are building an online business that, oh, I have my offer, I have my program, I know what to do. So then they create this program, whether it's their workout, whether it's their coaching, whether it's a membership, and then they go sell it online and they think, oh no, my business, nobody wants it. It must be too expensive. Too expensive compared to what? So before you decide that you're going to change your price, here's how I want you to really think through and put together your $1 million offer stack, starting with your premium offer. So what makes your premium offer premium? So this can be your high ticket offer, but really it's the signature offer. It's the one that you want to spend the most time and get the most volume without sacrificing your profitability. Because whether you're starting out or you've been doing this for a while, your revenue is not the same as your profitability and your take home. And likely, I probably don't have to tell you that, but just in case, it's important to know, because there are lots of people out there that are saying, yeah, here's my 8-figure launch. I made 8 figures, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of people out there that are talking about marketing math and telling you all about their 8-figure launches, but they're not showing you how many hours they spent to generate those 8-figure business or how many people it took. Because there are a lot of people out there that are touting these 8-figure launches, but they're not actually sharing with you the amount of hours, whether it was them or their team or combination of both, was put in to generating 8 figures, nor did they talk about their expenses to generate 8 figures. And what most people do not talk about is that if they do not get this $1 million offer stack correct and set up correctly, it will oftentimes cost them more money to build, to run, than it is to earn. But everyone wants to talk about the earning, and I know this firsthand. In fact, a couple of years ago, I got into a lot of trouble. This is what actually started to cause my $120K in debt, because my business was outspending what it was generating. And this low ticket lead system is the exact process that I use to turn that all around. So this premium offer doesn't have to be high ticket or high ticket only. It just has to be the signature offer you want to be known for. And I'm going to recommend that it live anywhere between the $497 range all the way up to $3,000. Now, some people would put that $497 in a mid-ticket position as something that is part of the low-ticket lead system. But for me, you could have a very profitable experience, a very profitable business, generating $497 sales at volume. And I would say a mid-level of volume depending on what your goal is. Then you're going to have your accessible offers. These are your offers that are in the front end of the business. So these are going to be anywhere from $9 to $2, depending on how skilled you are in communicating the right offer to the right person at the right time is going to be one component in what determines what price point you should pick. I've noticed $27 is often a really good sweet spot. And it also depends on how much complexity is wrapped up in your offer and the intention of what you want this offer to do. Now, for me and my clients, the point is not to get rich off this $9 to $97 offer. The point is to grow an email list of customers, because you wouldn't go into a restaurant, demand that they give you free food before you buy. And yet somehow we are indoctrinated to believe that this is how we are supposed to build our business, which just plain and simple isn't true. And it doesn't mean that we don't use free content. The free content is strategic. And the reason why is because Google recently posted this research that showed us that you need anywhere from 8 to 14 touch points before making a buying decision. We've known that for years. And yet it's also showing that we need about 7 hours of consumption before someone actually makes a buying decision. Now, it's not that that's a bad thing. It just means that if there's not enough of an emotional investment for your client or potential clients, they're not going to consume the material. And if they're not consuming the material, then they're likely not going to become a client or customer. And so if there's not enough of an emotional investment, they're not going to do the work. In fact, think of it like this. When was the last time you registered for a free training, or you download a PDF and you had the best of intentions of reading it, executing on it, and you just didn't do it? And it's not because you didn't necessarily want to. You just are telling yourself you haven't gotten to it yet. And the truth is, you don't have enough of an emotional investment to actually implement and execute. Your clients feel the same way. And the price or the value exchange, whether it's energy, effort, or money, time, doesn't have enough urgency or reason to spend it. And the urgency I'm talking about is not fake deadline urgency. It's inner urgency. Problem. The pain of the problem does not outweigh the pain of changing the problem. The pain of the problem, meaning staying the same, does not outweigh the pain of change. So what does that mean? Well, your clients are going to need to work out. They're likely going to need to change their eating habits. And if they've tried to do it before, they likely have a preconceived notion of what that's going to take, how hard that's going to be, and they don't want to do it. So the pain of the change is worse than the pain of staying the same. Now, in the accessible offer stack, there are 3 offers here. So the first is the front end offer. This is the door that gets them into the store. That $9 to $97. Then you're going to have an order bump. An order bump is that experience that's, hey, do you want fries with that? So typically my clients, they'll do a workout with food, or they'll do food with workout. You want the order bump to have a feeling of enhancing the experience, not bait and switch, meaning if they say yes to the order bump, they should be able to get the result without needing the order bump. Because if not, it will feel like a bait and switch. So think of something that is either more like the same. So for example, if you're doing a book, it could be want the audio version. If you're doing a training program, do you want the video library? If you're doing nutrition fundamentals, do you want the recipes to go with that? Are examples. Then you want to have a one-time offer known as OTO, meaning this is something where I like to think of it as, do you want me to just do this for you? So my clients who's running a very successful low ticket offer funnel right now has a 14-day challenge. Then there is a OTO that's, do you want me to do this for you? Feeling, and it's one coaching call with the customized strategy session that ends up upselling into a more intensive coaching package. Then you're going to have your conversation starters. Now, conversation starters, this is where you can use your free accessible options. But here's the thing. If they can't get to this conversation starter or this freebie or this free resource until they talk to you, that already increases the emotional investment for your client or potential client. And you don't have to spend hours on creating PDFs that no one reads. My clients have 3 types of conversation starters. It's either the Loom, where they customize it, where they ask 3 questions, and they hear, so it's either the customized response. And so what that means is they will ask 3 questions, struggle, goal, what they've been trying, and then they'll send back a customized experience or customized response, which is either going to be getting them on the phone. So some people will call this a triage, like a triage call, or it's going to be a Loom video. So it's a recording video or a Loom or a Zoom or some type of recorded response with a Google Doc. And you can even just use Claude artifacts to do that. And you don't have to make it beforehand. In fact, my conversation starter is customized. You want a profit plan? I'll answer these 3 questions for you, and I will send you back a customized profit plan. It takes me 5 minutes to make. And then people will say, but that's not scalable. Okay, that's why we create the low ticket lead system, because that's scalable. And people can listen to the podcast, watch the YouTube. There's over 400 hours of free training on there. Conversation starters are often reserved for customers. And then if we get to a point where it needs to become one-to-many, like it has been in my business, then I just moved to one-to-many model. And people can come to the masterclass and get questions answered and get customized responses. They have to show up to do it, so there's more emotional resonance. And if you're nervous or worried that no one's going to come live or no one's going to listen to it or no one's going to watch it, so let me just give it to them instantly. Let me make it as easy as possible. Then you're running the risk of not having enough emotional investment. No one's going to consume it. And if they're not consuming it, then the likelihood of ascending into becoming a client is lower significantly. And I don't know about you, but I would rather have 1,000 customers than 100,000 people who don't pay attention to my stuff and I have to pay for them on my email services. Okay, so how do we start putting this together? How do we start turning our science skills into actual programs that are easy to sell and fun to deliver? So actually, there are 7 main components to what makes offers and programs so irresistible. This is true whether they're conversation starters, front-end offers, accessible offers, or premium offers. So the first thing we're going to do, though, is work with the end in mind, and we're going to start with the premium offer, the signature offer. And so the first component is the promise. Now, the more specific, the better, meaning your offer needs to solve a specific problem and promise a specific outcome. And now people panic because they think, I can't promise outcome. There's too many contributing factors. Okay, that's true. And you're right. But you have to be able to communicate then what you can promise. So you can promise tools, you can promise service, education, accountability that's designed for what purpose, designed to get what outcome. You still have to be able to communicate that so that people have everything they need to make a decision. Now, people get confused because when I say that, they think, oh, you're trying to convince me of something. You're trying to force me to buy. And that's not what decision-making means. To decide means to cut off all other options, or rather, I think the actual derivative of the Latin word, it means to kill off all other options. So I'm not trying to convince you or anybody of anything. I'm trying to present all of the facts so that you can decide whether this is not for me, this is not for me right now, or yes, I'm all in. Because your job is to communicate and remove any and all doubt. Doubt on you as the coach, doubt on you and your process, doubt on themselves and whether or not they can do it, and doubt as to whether or not they need this right now. Move them towards desire. And when you can do that effectively, then you can have whatever revenue of business per month that you want and need. And so when I say that I'm not here to convince, if you don't want to have a low ticket lead system in your business, fine. I'm not going to make you. My job is to show you what's at stake if you don't, and what the possibility is in order to get what it is that you want. I'm going to show you how having a low ticket lead system is the bridge, is the best way to get consistent, predictable, and sustainable revenue, whether you want customers or clients, period. Now, does that mean that freebies and VSLs and DMing 20 to 50 people don't work? No, it works. People do it. That's why they teach it. It's just not what me and my clients like to do. So I don't teach it. So what's the promise? Then the next step is the process. How are you going to take someone from the problem that they are in, that they know that they're in, to get the said promise? How are you going to do that? For me, it's low ticket lead system, no brainer. What is the answer for you? And here's how I help my clients really figure that out. First is I want you to think about what's the problem your clients are in, and then just go through the process step by step of, if I was a new client and I wanted to do X, the promise you deliver on, what is the process that you would take me through? Now, this can be really challenging for my clients, which is why inside of the implementation hub that I've created, I literally did the work for you. So if you can answer a couple of questions, it will help take your expertise and it'll show you how to figure out what's this outcome, what's the problem, what's my process. Okay, so then we need to figure out the price. What is the price of the actual investment now, or the actual program? And the thing when deciding price, there's a couple of components. I've done a separate video on price, on how to price your products and services, which we can link here, or we'll put it in the show notes as well, because the way that you want to think about it, it is the intersection between leverage, meaning what you can share with many people, as well as the customized component and the amount of hours and time. Okay. So here's how you want to be thinking about price, because your price is going to have a power circle, because your price is determined by results and reputation, as well as the conditions that are required to deliver on said promise. And then also your capacity of what is your ability to deliver. Because here's the thing, if you get this wrong, when you grow and scale and you add volume, it will break under pressure, because you cannot outwork time and space continuum, meaning you cannot keep hiring coaches, which will cost the business more, in order to fulfill on the promise if there's no revenue. Meaning you could have 1,000 clients that are all paying you $1, but you can't fulfill on that type of promise if you're only getting $1 without hiring team. But $1,000 to hire team is not going to cover that expense. So that means that your ability to deliver and the conditions for delivery are not going to yield high results and high reputation, which means that the program is not set up for success. So I want you to think about how much time it actually will take you to set up to fulfill. Take the revenue and hours that you want to be working per year or per month. And so with that said, you also have to think through value and pricing value. And value is determined by the desired outcome, effort and sacrifice, how convenient and fast you can yield the results, and their level of belief in themselves that they can do it. So there is a perception of value. And you also have to remember that what is valued to you is different than your client. So while you might be pricing on your actual hours of labor, you're not pricing on the value, because there's value to the market that you bring. There's a value in how you communicate with all those levers that I just talked about: speed, convenience, effort and sacrifice, belief in themselves, desired outcome, and then the value underneath that, plus the experience of the delivery, which is the value that you can deliver. That is the perception of value. And you've got 3 levels: do it yourself, do it with you, or done for you. All compared to the do it yourself of hours of education and research and investment in degrees that they might potentially need in order to provide the result that you are going to speed up for them and make it more convenient for them. And then you literally have to just think through the capacity component, meaning how much time does it actually take you to fulfill on this offer. So for my clients, I like anywhere between $497. So if it's completely do it yourself, and it doesn't matter if you have a 1 client or 1,000 clients, done with you, done for you. And the higher you go in price, there's a higher perception of value and capacity. Then the 4th component of an offer is urgency. So think of your urgency as outer urgency. So these are, you're doing cohorts, starting and stopping, and deadlines, make them real. And then you also have inner urgency, which is the consequence of not starting now. This is harder to communicate, still matters. The number 5, scarcity. The more scarce something is, there's more a perceived value. So for example, look at Labubu. If you have a kid, or squishies, or what are they called? Neatos. Parents are lining up to get these toys because there is a scarce, limited number available at certain times. Apple does the same thing. This increases a perception of value. Number 6 is a risk reversal, especially today. Where can you take on the risk? What is your refund policy? Whether it's no refund, whether it's conditional refund, whether it's satisfaction, 30, 60, 90, or 200% money back. This is guaranteed. And then lastly, the part that sets your programs and services apart from everybody else's is the context of you. Why does this offer exist? Why are you creating this offer, this program, this service? And don't tell me,
oh, I guess that means that there's no room for me because it's already saturated.
Because if that were true, then why is it that the majority of Americans are struggling with their health and fitness, mental health, physical health, spiritual health, and yet it's a billion-dollar industry? There's room for you. And when you have these components communicated to the right person at the right time, your revenue will skyrocket. These 7 components are true whether you're working on an accessible offer, a conversation starter, or your premium offer. The price is just one component. Now, a lot of people struggle with this, which is why inside of my implementation hub, inside of Formula, I actually have an offer lab, which will brainstorm with you. It takes 10 years of my education and my experience. And sure, the curriculum is great and you can have lifetime access to curriculum, but I don't know about you, but I'm tired of watching hours and hours of curriculum, and you're on this training, so you probably already have listened to this for X amount of time, which is why I have put together the implementation hub where you could actually brainstorm, where you could actually get some feedback and insight, answer some questions instead of watching videos, doing the worksheets, which can be great, but this will give you real insight in real time. And this is part of the implementation hub that I have put together inside of PT Profit Formula. So if you're curious about that, comment Formula inside, or DM me the word formula and I'd happily share with you what it actually looks like. Now, if you're anything like my clients, it might be really challenging to come up with these ideas on your own. That's why I put together this PT Profit formula, which has an implementation hub. This has over 10 years of experience of my curriculum and of experience where you can generate ideas and get feedback and then just talk using AI that you don't even need to prompt. So here is an example. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you're likely going to see this, but if you are brand new, or if you're tuning into the podcast through audio, then I recommend checking this out on YouTube later. So I'm here. I pulled up the Ask Beverly Anything. I'm going to ask, can you help me come up with a transformation outcome for a 3K offer program I want to put together? AI Beverly is said, great. Who's this program for? What's the core problem they're stuck in right now? Even a rough answer works. And I said, can you generate ideas for me? And it said, sure. I just need a little bit more things before I can give you anything useful. Who's this for? What's the main problem that they're in? And it's going to give it to me. And it's amazing. I'm really helpful. I'm super happy. That's coming out, talking, and it's literally going to give me some really powerful ideas inside of this program or inside of the implementation hub, which you can save. And for anyone who's feeling like, oh no, I don't want AI to come in and take my proprietary, or I don't want to steal anyone's ideas. The idea is not that AI is going to replace you. It's to help amplify and extract your expertise in a way that is effective so that you can actually communicate the right ideas to the right person at the right time. It's not about trying to have AI replace you as a coach. It's to help expedite your expertise as well as help you improve your productivity. And it's really cool. And if you want me to show you what this looks like, definitely come into Simple Scaling. I'm going to show you behind the scenes on this, or just DM me the word formula. And great job here. And I'll see you inside of the next podcast. Thanks.